Okay, we're on number 4, and 4 says compute the minimum value of the expression. So I'm thinking that this probably is best left to doing the calculus. All right, I'm going to go to the whiteboard now. And I'm going to write the problem down for you now. And again, this is a function of alpha. This is number 4. There's a function of alpha, and that function is going to be the sine of 2016 over alpha, of alpha, I'm sorry, plus the cosine of 2016 of alpha. They go on to say that alpha is a real number. Now it says compute the minimum value, so they want to minimize this. I want to be honest with you, when I write the letter alpha down, over time it starts to look like the number 2 to me. So what I want to do is I want to just simply maybe rewrite it so it's a little bit easier for me. And I do like to use the letter X. Whoops, I'll write that down. So let's write this down. Sine 2016 x. By the way, I'm typing, I don't mind using the alpha. When I'm writing on a piece of paper, I'd like to use the x instead. Plus the cosine of 2016 x. And what I want to do is I want to use calculus. So I'm going to write the derivatives down now. And again, I'm trying to minimize this. And calculus will help me do that, by the way. So what do you get? 2016 times the sine 2015x times the cosine, using the chain rule, of x, minus 2016 cosine 2015x. And the reason I would the minus down is because the derivative of cosine is minus sine. That's why I did that. All right, I got to factor that. And I'll write this over here. And I'm going to say 2016 certainly factors out. And a sine factors out. And a cosine factors out. And what are you left off with? Well, you're left off with the sine of 2014 x minus the cosine 2014 of x. All right, so I'm going to keep, maybe massaging this thing a little bit each time. I'm starting to notice this thing here is related to a double angle formula. And not that you have to do that, but I'll kind of write this down. So I'm going to borrow a 2 from the 2016, which would give you 1008. And this would be a sine of a double angle now. And that's 2x. And what do you get over here? You get the sine of 2014x minus the cosine 2014 of x. All right? So let's take a look at that and see if I can figure out the critical numbers now. And I'm going to say, this one might be easy to do. All right? So I'm going to put this over here, 2x. Where that becomes 0 would be 0 plus pi k. So that one's not bad to do. So I'm going to say x equals pi over 2k, with the understanding k could be any integer. All right, that's a critical number, by the way. I got to do the other one, a little more complicated, and I'll write this one down for you. The sine 2014 of x equals the cosine 2014 of x. I'm going to divide both sides by the cosine of 2014, and you're going to get the tangent of 2014 x is equal to 1. So I'm going to say the tangent of x, principal root over here, that's going to be plus or minus now. Plus or minus 1. All right? I got to think about this. Well, I'm going to get pi over 4 certainly. Plus well, it's going to be pi, right? And it's going to be minus pi over 4 plus pi k. Okay. Let's take a look. And this is a periodic function, by the way, so maybe I really don't have to do too much work over here. So let's write down, it could be 0. I'm looking at this guy over here now. It could be pi over 2. These are the critical numbers. It could be minus pi over 2. You get the idea. It goes on forever. I'm not going to write them all down, by the way. Could be pi over 4. Could be minus pi over 4. And by the way, they keep repeating themselves, so I'm not going to do too much with that. But I do need to start analyzing this, don't I? All right? So the way I'm going to do it, just kind of look for numbers to look at that first derivative, right? So let's put this down. That first derivative was 1008 sine of 2 alpha. Again, I'm sorry, it's not alpha. We used x, right? And it's a good point that my 2 looked like an alpha, didn't it? So it's a 2x down. And then you're getting this sine 2014 x minus cosine 2014 x. And I want to go in here and take a nice little easy test value over here. And certainly I know this thing is positive. And what happens over here? Well, looking at these things over here, that cosine is really going to overpower it, which is going to make it a negative. All right? And then if I do this test point over here, take a number between pi over 4 and pi over 2, going up above 45 degrees, by the way, this thing is still positive over here. And now the sine function is going to overtake this guy over here. So this is going up. All right? So I'm looking at this thing over here, and I'm starting to realize that I get a minimum value. By the way, it's going to be symmetry over here as well, by the way. I'm seeing that from the original problem, by the way. It's an even problem. I'm seeing symmetry at this point. So I'm going to say my minimum occurs at pi over 4. That's where it occurs. So I go back to my original function, which is going to be f at pi over 4. And that's going to be the sine of pi over 4, which is 1 over root 2, but to the 2016, plus the cosine of pi over 4, again, 1 over root 2, 2016. And this is going to be 2 of those things. So I'm going to say this is 2. And let me take a look at this thing over here. It's going to be 1 over 2. I'm borrowing a 2 from the 2016. That's going to be 1008 now. And if I look at this, it's going to be 1 over 2 to the 1007. That's my minimum value. And we're done. Thank you.